Hello, crochet enthusiasts. Welcome to another episode of Creative Crochet with Abigail, where we unravel the secrets of mastering your crochet skills. Well, I've got my crochet hook. I've also got my yarn, but today we won't be using any of this. Instead, we'll be using measuring tape. We'll also be using a notepad and a pen. Can you guess what we're about to do? Well, today we'll be delving into the fundamentals of basic body measurement. So, if you would like to make stunning crochet dresses that are made to fit the exact measurement of the person you're making it for without making any mistakes, then join me as we unravel the secrets of basic body measurement. If you look behind me, you'll notice that on the whiteboard is a list of basic body measurements that are essential. Now we're going to be studying each of these basic body measurements, and we'll even go further. We'll practicalize taking these measurements on the mannequin. Doesn't that sound exciting? Join me as we take this journey.
Now on the screen you can see the basic body measurements to take, and they are the bust circumference, the under bust circumference, the over bust circumference, the waist circumference, which is also called the round waist measurement, the hip circumference, the neckline circumference, the shoulder length, the back half length, the front half length, the rise, the arm length, the ankle, the calf, the inner seam, the outer seam, the knee circumference, the armhole, the round wrist, which is round the wrist, the forearm, and the bicep. These are the basic body measurements to give a perfect fit in crocheting. Now let's start with the first one, the bust circumference. In taking the bust circumference, you keep in mind that it is the widest part in the upper part of the person's body, usually around or close to the nipple point. So you use that as a basis in taking your bust circumference, and also allow it to be a little free so it doesn't choke the person. It's not too tight on the person. The next is the under bust circumference, which is just under the bust as the name implies. So you take the measurements from the back and then you bring it forward to the front and get your under bust circumference. We also have the over bust circumference, which is over the bust as the name implies. So the upper part of the bust is what you measure round. In that way you will get your over bust circumference measurement. And then we also have the waist circumference. Now for the waist circumference, you keep in mind it's a tiny part. You can use the person's navel point as a basis for you to get that waist circumference. Okay, so you use the navel point to track it. You go around that navel point and get your waist circumference. The next we're looking at is the hip circumference. Now for the hip circumference, it's a wide part. So you take it from the back, the widest part there, to the front, the widest part of the hip. In order to be sure that that's the widest part, you can try taking the tape upwards and downwards. If it passes freely, then you have gotten the widest part of the hip, and that's what we use for our hip circumference measurements, as you can see. We also need to take note of the neckline circumference. As the name implies, it's going around the base of the neck, and you need to make it free so you don't choke your customer. The shoulder length measurement is taken from the back of the person for it to be accurate. So you go from the end of the left shoulder to the end of the right shoulder, as you can see in the video. That way you'll be able to get your shoulder length measurement. The next we're looking at is the back half length measurement, and we take that from the base of the neck on the back to the point in which we measured our waist circumference at the back. So you go from the base of the neck to that point and get your back half length measurement. We'll also look at the front half length measurement. This time, as the name implies, we take it from the front, from the base of the neck, the shoulder, down to the navel point of the individual. And doing this, make sure the tape goes over the bust so that we can get a fitting measurement, not one that will be overly tight, especially on the bust area of the individual. So that's how you take your front half length measurement. Let's also look at the rise. Now for the rise measurement, we're going this time from the navel point downwards. We use this rise measurement for pants, trousers, and the likes, especially for females. So that's how you take your rise measurement. The arm length measurement is taken from the end of the shoulder downwards. It depends on the length of the sleeve of the individual. It could be a short sleeve or a longer sleeve. So you take it down to the desired length of the sleeve. The next we're looking at is the ankle, or you can call it the ankle circumference. We're going around the ankle. Now the trick to this is that you need to ensure that it is free enough to go out through the feet. Okay, so you measure it from that ankle point to under the base of the feet. That way, if it's a trouser, the customer can easily take it off without having to struggle needlessly or cause wear and tear to the crochet article made. So that's how you measure. Let it go under the feet, the base of the feet, from the ankle point, and that's your ankle circumference measurement. The next one we're going to look at is the calf. Now the calf is that wide part in between your knee and your ankle. In between your knee and your ankle, that wide part is your calf. You measure it from the back to the front. That's how you get your calf measurement. As you can see in the video, ensure it's free. It shouldn't be too tight to give a perfect fitting and comfort to your customer. The next we're looking at is the inner seam. Now the inner seam is taken from under the waist to the ankle on the inner part of the leg. That's the difference between the inner seam and the outer seam. The inner seam is taken on the inner part. Okay, so you go down to the ankle for your inner seam. For the outer seam, you take it this time on the outer part of the leg down to the ankle, and that way you'll be able to get your outer seam measurement. The next we're looking at is the knee circumference. This simply means going round the knee. So you have to ensure you are taking the measurements on the knee, no other place, otherwise you get a wrong measurement. Allow it to be free and get your circumference. The next we're looking at is the armhole. This time we're going around the arm, and to do this you need to take your tape round under the arm. For your wrist measurement, you're taking your measurement round, your tape round the wrist of the individual in such a way that it can easily go out from the hand, and that way you provide comfort to your customer. The forearm is the part just before the arm, okay, just before the wrist, that's the forearm, that wide part. You need to take that measurement too. And then the next part that we'll be looking at is bicep. Yes, the bicep is just the part after your shoulder and before the arm. So now wide parts after the shoulder is the bicep. You take the circumference of it and allow it to be free so the customer is comfortable in it. So now you know the proper full body measurement techniques to get the perfect piece for your crochet work. I hope this information was useful, and I hope you're feeling evoked and confident to tackle your next crochet project. Talking about crochet projects, can you guess our next crochet project? To find out, like and subscribe Creative Crochet with Abigail if you haven't already done so, and we'll see you in our next video. And as always, keep those hooks busy. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.